guys hear me well? Yes? Cool? All right, perfect. I wanted to make sure you guys can hear me so you can hear the accent that sometimes comes out of my mouth. So I have not been on stages as long as these guys, so I did prepare some notes so I don't get lost. So first of all, I really do want to congratulate you for being here, for really making the investment to come to Orlando and invest in your future. So my goal today is to give you a lot of value for the time that you came here and spent. To me, time is more valuable than money because you can always make more money, but you can't get more time. And my story is pretty simple. Like I said, I do have a little bit of an accent. I come from Poland. My parents brought me here when I was 14 years old in 2005. And they brought me here for a better opportunity. And to them, a better opportunity was to me to be possibly a doctor or a lawyer. And that's just not really where I wanted to go. And I wanted to always make them proud. But I also understood that I can't make everybody happy. I have to make myself happy first. So I decided to pursue entrepreneurship. So I went off to high school, graduated high school, went off to college, only for 6 months though, and I quit. I thought that I was smart enough, that I could make it without it, that I'll cross my fingers and hope for the best. And that was probably one of the worst choices I made. I should have stayed in school because by the time I was 22, actually I had about 12 jobs and life was not looking too positive for me. And for some of you might think, wow, that's a lot of jobs. Yeah, it was pretty tough to, change them quite frequently. And the day that changed my life around was actually 2 years ago when I first met my mentor. I'll tell you in a little bit. But what I can tell you is looking at my background, I really wasn't meant to be here on the stage. None of my previous family members are really widely successful. None of them can publicly speak besides maybe family parties. And during that time, I realized that in order for my life to change, I got to change. So the reason why I'm able to stand in front of you today is really to share with you some of the principles that that gentleman actually taught me who made a few $1 million in about a decade. And that was actually, by the time, the most successful person I've met in my life. So I asked him to be my mentor. And he thankfully said yes. And some of the principles that I'll share with you right now will actually, I hope, give you what you need in order to move forward with your dreams. So before I go into that, I'll do a little tease like Troy does a lot. I want you to stop for a second and really be thankful for what you have. I learned that gratitude actually opens for more positive things to come to your life. And without it, those things are actually stopped. So the very first thing is to believe in yourself. And that might seem pretty simple, self-worth. It's pretty easy, we should feel self-worthy. Now, there's one challenge. Most of us are programmed in a very negative way. And here's how that happens. By the time we're 18 years old, actually we get to hear about 150,000 times that we can't do something, we can't amount to doing that, or we shouldn't be doing this. And only about 7,000 times that we should be doing that, we should continue with this, or that our parents are proud because of this. So right away from the start, we're not in the best possible position. But here's what all that changes. Once you understand that everything until now, the way you are right now is just based on your environment, you actually have a power to make a choice and change that if you don't like the place you are in right now. So all that really concludes into a philosophy, a mindset that we have for our life. And with that philosophy is really like a building, like a foundation actually to a building. And the foundation holds the building, but you can't really see it. Same with our philosophy. We can't really see it, but we live on it on a day-to-day basis. So what I understood from one of my mentors is that once I'm able to change it and make a conscious choice about it, the second thing is to understand that everything is a process. You know, I spoke with Seth, and he finds it quite funny that about 2 years ago, if you would have met me, you wouldn't follow me, excuse my language, to the bathroom, not even a business. And that's true, because 2 years ago, I was not where I wanted to be in life. And one of the things that I learned, like I already mentioned, is I need to take specific actions in order for me to move towards my goals. One of the things that I also learned actually through a personal development speaker, Anthony Robbins, was you got to ask yourself the right questions. A lot of times people in business, they ask the wrong questions. And usually the questions that come up are some form or shape based in a negative way. Why can't I do this business? And usually what your brain will do is will give you answers. And it's pretty damn good at it. It'll give you answers like, oh, you're not worthy, because nobody in your family was successful. Why do you think you should be different? Well, instead, look at the opposite side of the coin and ask yourself, why should I do this business? Think of the ways, think of the reasons why you should actually make this business successful. And make it more than just money, monetary. Because a lot of times that's not enough to get you through the negative times that will come through building a business. Number 2, vision. Vision about yourself. The way you see yourself in the future. What some people might say, begin with the end in mind. And let me tell you a story. One of my best friends that I met about 8 years ago in English as a second language class in Chicago. We were both from Poland. He had a vision about himself to become one of the most powerful people in the entertainment business. He's a year older than I am, and 5 years ago he went off to college, actually not too far from here, Full Sail University. And he graduated with a 4-year degree inside of 2 years. 3 years ago, he came to me. I remember sitting in my car, and he shared with me he had a dream about this website that he was going to make successful. And the website was an online record label. He had a few projects, and out of those projects, he took one single idea and focused on it over the last 12 months. The project, the company is called Nastrack, and it's a music stock market on the internet. Every song starts with $1, and then it increases in value based on the demand. Demand drops, the value drops. His goal was to become a millionaire by 25. And about 3 months ago, he called me, he was scratching his head. He was like, you know what, I don't think I can make it. I only have a few months left, and I'm nowhere near my goal. And about 8 days ago, on Friday, he signed a contract with one of the biggest financial investment groups in the world, and now his company is evaluated at $6 million. 2 months before his goal. Yes, clap for Camille. And it was, for some people, it might seem like an overnight success, but for the people that were involved in the process, for all the conversations that went down, saying, I don't think I can do this, it was an 8 years in the making process. One of my actually favorite CEOs in the world, his name is Richard Branson, said that if somebody comes to you with a great business idea and you don't know what to do with it, you should just say yes and figure it out later. So my vision 2 years ago was actually to speak on stages like this one. And today I do have the pleasure to do so. And I'm very grateful for it. Thank you. So number three. Number 3 is to take action every day. Now here's what's important. Sometimes we don't take as much action as we would like to, and we beat ourselves up. I want you to know that everything is okay. You're in a perfect place that you are in life right now to move where you want to go. Forget about what happened and make sure that if you do take action, even if it's one little tiny thing, but that will still move you closer to where you want to go in your life, to the goals that you keep in your head. So I had a problem actually with myself before I decided to commit to my personal growth development. I did not want to actually take accountability for my own actions. So usually what would happen is I would blame my parents, I'll blame my brother, I'll blame the community, I'll blame even the government. And none of that was helping. And it wasn't until I realized that if it's meant to be, it's up to me, that really nothing will happen. Most recently, actually, I had another discovery that allowed me to open up another level of accountability to myself and my goals, and that was a story. And a story was that I held in my mind. It was back from when I was about 10 years old. And it was my mom, my brother, my dad, and my grandma. We actually went on one day to the beach, a couple hours drove, and I actually had a backpack with all of the documents, my dad's documents, some money, my brother's camera, and the keys to the car. Little did I know, we went to the restaurant, we left the restaurant, and I left the backpack. When I came back a few minutes later, the backpack was gone. Now, in that moment, the story that I created in my head was that I can't be trusted, because I was given trust over this backpack, and now I lost it. And actually, that story kept with me for almost my entire life, until now, until I decided to let it go. So some of you have those type of stories that you're just holding on, and you just don't want to go, don't want to let it go. It feels comfortable to hold it, and that story might be keeping you from where you want to go. So what I ask you to do this weekend is to make a decision and let that story go. Tell it bye-bye. I'm not going to need that story anymore, because you know where you want to be. So in a relationship, as relationship marketers, we do a few simple things. We prospect, we invite, we prospect, and then we follow up until somebody says yes or no about our opportunity. Seems very simple. But the problem is that the consistency for most of us is not there. It wasn't there for me previously. And what I can tell you is that you are the only person that can actually make yourself successful. Nobody else can. And you have to take that accountability and run with it. See, there's a principle called the compounding effect, and it talks about taking small, insignificant steps towards your goals that will actually amount to large success. And imagine if you could talk to 2 people per day about your business, 6 days a week, take 1 day off over a year. You would have about 312 prospects that we would have talked to at the end of the year, and about 15 to 30 of them, being conservative, would join your business. That actually would put you in the top 5% of network marketers. How many of you think you could do that? Raise your hand. Okay, great. So right now, we need to start looking at the things we're not doing in our business and start doing them from today, because that will create personal change in your life. See, time is running out. I'll just finish with one of my favorite stories of one of my favorite authors, which is John C. Maxwell. Yeah. And he's one of arguably the best leadership coach in the world. And he said that in life you're going to actually have to pay a price. And that price you're either going to have to pay now, and then you can live the rest of your life how you want to live, or you can live how you want to live now and then pay the price later. But you won't be able to get out of paying that price, actually. So the question is, how are you growing yourself? How many books have you read in the last 12 months? How many seminars have you gone to in the last 12 months? My personal favorite is Landmark Education. I do recommend it, and I'm about to get kicked off, so I'm actually just finishing with one last sentence from one of my personal mentors, and many of you know him. His name is Billy Funk. And it says that the same sun rises and falls on us all. It's the time in between that makes or breaks your dream. Thank you all. Love you.